Ladies and gentlemen, we want to know how the safe zones are going to be affecting the Downtown Owners and Merchants Association. And to do that, this morning, Natalee's going to be chatting with the president himself, Mr. Gregory Aboud.
Thank you so much, Raucus. Good morning to you, Mr. Aboud.
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
Mr. Aboud, you don't think that is a nice song?
Yes, actually, I do. I do think that there is a different dimension, sort of new angle in the music of Mr. Mukawil and his group. It's a very interesting addition to the many different types of, indigenous vibrations that come out of these Caribbean islands, and particularly Trinidad.
Yeah.
And I think it has a bright future.
I agree with you. It sounds so different from what we're used to, and even the song that he did to highlight domestic violence, it is absolutely beautiful. So Freetown Collective, I've got you. I think you're really onto something good, but that's not what we invited you here for.
I could tell you that based upon all the Jamaican lyrics that you are giving us, that in Jamaica, my Jamaican friends always tell me when I say I like a song, they will tell me him have conscious lyrics.
Yes, and I love that.
And so Mohammed Mukawil is very conscious in his lyrics.
Yeah.
And that is very appealing to some people, who are looking for a little more meaning in life.
Yeah. And that,
so anyway,
for me,
you want to know about safe zones?
Yes. Let's get into the safe zones. I mean, because everybody's talking about it, once the government, signal its intention to go this route and to give people, when I spoke to the Minister of Health yesterday, he was saying it's an opportunity to get the economy going, to get places that have been closed for months, an opportunity to reopen safely and to get some economic activity in those areas. So how does DOMA feel about it?
Well, I mean, it's a natural progression of the situation. It took long to come, in my respectful opinion, and it is designated for those businesses in which the clientele and the business basically operate on static type of interaction between the service provider or the business operator and his or her clientele, and that is specifically in the area of restaurants. And you are required, if you go to a restaurant, to stay for a while in the dining room.
Yeah.
Not the same story if you went to buy groceries or buy a book or buy a piece of fabric or something of the sort. It would be a transitional type transaction. You would go in, you would buy it, and you would leave. In a restaurant, you might sit for an hour and a half, and to eat, you have to take your mask off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the reality is that this is an avenue by which the restaurant trade can start to breathe again, and it has been very difficult for the restaurant trade. I mean, let's be very honest. I mean, it sounds simple to say it, but businesses were not designed to remain closed. A closed business is a bankrupt business, and these businesses have been closed on and off for more than 12 or 14 months. And I think the government should be given credit for wanting to find ways to try and give these business operators an opportunity to start living again and start serving their clientele and start becoming relevant. Which is not to say that the government is also not being correct, in my view, in saying to the public, look, the choice is yours. If you want to go and sit in a restaurant, you're going to have to be vaccinated. It is a pseudo encouragement of some sorts, and I think it's positive. I can't see. I mean, I've heard some painful type of comments, and some of them are downright nasty comments about the safe zone concept.
And you know what, Mr. Aboud, we're always going to have that. We're going to have that because one of the things we keep hearing.
I don't think in other countries that they spoke about vaccine apartheid. I don't recall seeing that anywhere. I mean, I've heard some negative things said about the vaccine, but that comment is really a betrayal of who we are.
Yeah.
That we are always willing to pull that race trigger and always trying to find a way to make ourselves into some sort of doomsday society where all of our problems can be explained by us being a divided, racist, prejudicial society, injustice, this, that, and the other thing. I mean,
Mr. Aboud,
this is a moment in time when a bright light is shining on us,
and we should just go with it. We should just go with it. But I think that we'll always have that where we have divisiveness. We'll always have people who are going to always see the glass half empty as compared to half full. I think it's a natural progression in life.
It's worse. It's much worse than it's ever been.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it or candy coat it. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't exist. The society is ruptured and ripped to pieces by people who have used social media to denigrate and to speak in a way that is less than respectful. And I might be much older than most of the people watching this program here this morning, but I am still young enough to remember the teachings that were given to me by my grandparents and parents. One of them is that if you want to be respected, you have to be respectful.
Amen.
And the great disrespect that is being perpetrated on the people of this country and the silence that disrespect is being met with is not doing us any good. And I am not going to pretend that it is all poppycock and balloons. It isn't. It's ugly and it's nasty. And awful things have been said, including things have been said about the government who are simply trying to prosper the society again so that they could collect tax, so that they could give away half of the money that they give to the very people who are complaining about apartheid, vaccinations, and this and that. It really is part and parcel, I think, of an uneducated society who don't stop to think and who run to the nearest, man on a soapbox who is screaming and crying about injustice and apartheid and racism and slavery and all the rest of it. They called it. Well, I shouldn't say they called it. I was called a slave master.
You know what, Mr. Aboud? I think the only thing I disagree with is that a lot of times when I see these kind of comments on social media, it's not from uneducated people, and that's what makes it so dangerous. A lot of times it's from influential and very educated people, sometimes even from the opposition. And it is so ridiculous when you have people in positions of authority who spew or encourage the race baiting or the nastiness, as you say, or the very negative comments. So, I am just, as you said, I think it's an opportunity. The minister indicated yesterday that it is a business community who's been asking for this, and they're trying to accommodate it to ensure that they can get some economic activity in restaurants, in gyms, in theaters, and in cinemas. That's a huge group of people, who will be able to see some level of economic activity. So I think I applaud DOMA for supporting the initiative that the government is taking, and I can just hope that people will see it for what it is. But we heard that there's an uptake in vaccine since it was announced, so it means that there are still people out there who are not listening to the negative, who are not listening to the nastiness, but seeing this for the opportunity that it is.
Well, I understand everything that you have said, and I hear your, intention to be positive and to stay focused.
Yeah.
But I would want to respectfully disagree with your view that there are educated people spewing, racist talk and hate talk and divisive talk and political talk and so on. In my opinion, education is a characteristic that exhibits itself in behavior, and it isn't only in the things that you think, it's in the things that you say as well, and the things that you do. And trying to play to people's racial instincts, or to their ethnic origin instincts, or to their rich versus poor, or big versus small, or UNC versus PNM, or Indian versus black, or whatever it is. Playing to that is selfish, and selfish is not educated. That's my opinion.
Oh.
So you could have all the university degrees if you want. You could bring yourself to us and call yourself doctor this and doctor that. That is your business. When you spew that sort of divisiveness, you are not educated. You go to the back of the class and try and learn something again about the shortness of your life and the greatness of the cause of humanity, and try and do something positive to try and make us into one nation so that we could prove to the rest of the world the great people that we really are, instead of this damn nonsense that is taking place in our country.
You know what?
And I know you didn't come in
I
to
agree
conclude
with you.
this
When you put
morning.
it like that, I cannot disagree. We are out of time. Your final words, Mr. Aboud?
Well, I would just like to say that the government is trying to get us vaccinated so that they could get the economy running, so that they could try and restore some of their lost revenue. We are trying to get vaccinated so that we could restore our businesses. The people of this country should really be trying to get vaccinated so that they could help the country along. This is not a question of just asking that you do this to help your family or to help your loved ones or something. This is a question of trying to help your country. And I think in my own mind that if you sat and thought about it long enough, you'd realize that there is only one option, and that option is to become vaccinated.
Yeah.
And the quicker we do it, the more quickly we will distinguish ourselves, not only as a Caribbean nation, but as a world nation, and prove that despite all these other differences that have been pointed out, that we recognize the need for each of us to pull our weight to protect our country by becoming vaccinated.
Mr. Aboud, thank you so much for your words of wisdom this morning. I hope those who are listening will take it to heart. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, Gregory Aboud, President of the Downtown Owners and Merchants Association. They're